Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I'm joined by Egal and LB, and we have loads to go through today. United sack Amorim, and reports this afternoon suggest Ole Gunnar Solskjær is close to rejoining as the interim Man United manager until the end of the season. We're looking at the new Chelsea head coach, Rosenior, 6-year contract signed by him today. We're looking at Man City's injury crisis as they look to sign Mark Guehi to ease the pressure at the back. We're looking at Liverpool as they go to the Emirates on Thursday night. Will they take a beating? All that over the next hour and a half or so. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But LB, Egal, how are you both?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, man.
Yeah,
how you doing, LB?
Yeah, I'm fucking all right, man. You know, I'm good, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I don't know how it must feel to support other clubs when I'm getting cooked when my team's 6 points off the top in a semi-final in the top 8 of the Champions League. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting roasted. Yet there's fans of other clubs that are in much worse situations that are seemingly getting off scot-free, bro.
Hey, you're not getting off scot-free either. You guys are supposed to have the best manager in the world, best striker in the world, best defensive midfielder in the world, best goalkeeper in the world. You shouldn't be having any excuses. But I see our fan base losing their absolute mind off the back of what happened this past weekend.
I mean, it's not ideal.
What I am liking, and I always enjoy this because it's one of the things I love doing content-wise, is I've got a file somewhere, I've just got to find it later, with all the City fans in the last 3 years have said injuries are no excuse to Arsenal fans, and now they're all tweeting, I can't believe we've got this injury crisis, we're in trouble. I enjoy the fun element of that, of going, hang on, didn't you say? Because that's why I don't participate in that kind of conversation, because it'll always bite you in the arse. But we're going to get into that later. We are going to talk Man United as Ole Gunnar Solskjær may be on his way back to the club for a second stint as manager, only on an interim level. I want to make sure that's very clear to the audience today. But as we don't have LB for the whole show, I wanted to start with Chelsea, LB, because it's been a crazy week. I'm not sure if the manager was sacked this time last week. I don't quite remember. I think it may have been on the edge of being sacked.
No, he wasn't sacked while we did the show.
No, yeah, that was it. I mean, we spoke about it and everything else, but he's gone. And now Rosenior is in on a 6-year deal. So this isn't short term. You know, I think Potts got like a year, about 2 years, 2.5 years. I'm not sure how long Maresca's contract was, but it certainly wasn't 6 years. They are fully backing Rosenior, taking him off Strasbourg, which is causing almost riots over there with their fans who feel that it's absolutely atrocious what they've done. But give me your views on this last week for Chelsea. And do you think that Rosenior could be the saviour for Chelsea? Could he get them back on track this season?
I have literally no idea about this Rosenior guy, bro. I literally have no idea who he is. I Googled him the other day. I think he's managed like 3 teams or something. All right, let's address the situation. Chelsea fans are obviously very happy about what's going on because, you know, I've been on at Chelsea fans about their ownership and the way that they're run as a football club. And all the Chelsea fans in this chat for the last 6 months have told me that I'm wrong. So this must be part of the plan. They must have obviously all known that this was going to happen, and they must all be very happy today with the appointment of Rosenior, or as he's more commonly known online at the moment, Matisse. Bro, it's just an embarrassment, man, to be honest with you, like of everything that's going on. I think Maresca's done a great job there. I think he done a great job. He took over a team that, you know, I think they'd had 4 or 5 managers in 2 years. It was a complete shit show. And he got in there. And last season, he outperformed what I thought he was going to do. He won 2 trophies. People will slam the trophies. I don't care. He still won them and got them top 4. That was a really successful season. Not where Chelsea want to be. Obviously, Chelsea don't want to be in the Conference League to start. They want to be in the Champions League and they want to be winning league titles. But being realistic, that was probably, no one probably expected him to do that. He's then had a terrible transfer window and the signs have been there since the summer. Yeah, if you've looked at what this guy's been saying since the summer, the signs have been there that he's not been happy. Yeah, he obviously wanted to kick on. And this has basically been my argument for the last 6 months. That people didn't want to wait, and Chelsea fans have just been basking in their wins in the Conference League and the Club World Cup, which they're more than entitled to do, but they were failing, and some of them just outright refusing to to just put that to one side and look at the future. If you live in the past, yeah, it's going to cause you problems. You have to look forward. You have to look at the present day and look forward. And in the summer, they just had a terrible transfer window. The manager clearly wanted better players. He clearly wanted better players. He clearly wanted a centre back, and they didn't give him that. They give him average players. They didn't give him the positions that he needed. And the signs have been there since the summer. If you've looked at his press conferences, if you've looked what he's been saying, he's not been happy for some time. And I think probably what's been going on, he had a bit of a dodgy run results-wise. He's probably looking at some support or whatever. He didn't get that. And then he's probably had some conversations with the board saying, right, let's do something in the January transfer window. Go and get me Mark Guehi. Go and get me a top-level striker or a top-level winger. And they've probably gone, no, you can have this 16-year-old from... I don't know, Kazakhstan or something, and he's gone, what the fuck's going on? And he's probably just had enough of it. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a good manager, and I think Chelsea will regret it. In terms of this Rosenior guy, who knows what this guy is going to do for it? He's obviously just a yes man. He's going to go there. He's going to do what Chelsea tell him to do, the board do. And it's just crazy to me, yeah, because Chelsea fans don't like me because I criticise the board and the sporting directors a lot. They never listen to the positive things that I have to say about Chelsea because they don't want to hear the positive things. I've said for the last 6 months, Chelsea are not a million miles away from being a really good football team. I'm sure both of you agree with me on that one. In my opinion, I think as a pair, they've got the two best fullbacks in the league. Caicedo is top 3 midfielders in the league. Palmer is a fantastic footballer. All right, he's struggling at the moment. He's a fantastic footballer. If you went and got them 3 or 4 top-level players, they would be an elite level team that could compete for the league. I don't think they'd need it. I think they probably need a bit more than that to actually win it, but they could compete. And when you say this, the Chelsea fans just go into fucking meltdown and say, LB just hates Chelsea and you hate Chelsea and blah, 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 blah. So I think it's crazy, to be honest with you, what's going on. Good luck to this Rosenior guy, but I don't see him lasting more than 8 months.
The thing is, it's we're going to go to you next, Egal, but it's the polarization of which we live in. So I haven't said Chelsea are crap, shit, rubbish, horrible. I think they're a very good team, but I think they need those top class experienced players to go to the next level. I think Maresca has proved to a degree a lot of people wrong. He came from the Championship. A lot of people were unsure, and it was, maybe he's good enough, maybe he isn't. And I think he demonstrated, by and large, he was a good manager, moving into that very good category. There's still a question mark as to whether or not he can get him over the line. But for me, Liam Rosenior, I hope for Chelsea's sake I'm wrong. Like, if I'm just being a normal, like, forget rivalry for a moment. But something about this tells me he's going to last 6 months. And then you've got Gary O'Neill in the other direction against Strasbourg. The whole thing just feels too neat, too rushed, too tidy, too arranged. There's something about it that just doesn't sit right with me personally. That's why, but this is why Chelsea fans are creating mass protests. Chelsea is calling you out, OB. It's the same LB that called him a Championship manager and yes man. This is Ches, by the way, who still backs Clearlake properly. Like, he's on Clearlake side.
So what's you? So this guy's backing Clearlake.
Well, he's saying you called Maresca a Championship manager. So what's the difference?
So when he was in the Championship manager, I called him a Championship manager. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
So when Maresca was a Championship manager, I called him a Championship manager.
Did you call Vincent Kompany a Championship manager?
When he was in the Championship.
Well, maybe he was in the Championship. I maybe called him a Championship manager.
The thing is, we need to acknowledge that winning the Championship and doing it in the way that Kompany and Maresca did, even though it's not fashionable, there's a different skill set to that than there is to just being like a Premier League team that stays afloat to a team that tries to stay up. The skill set to winning the Championship might actually be closer to being an elite manager than the skill set that it takes to being a team that stays up in the Premier League. You might not be able to stay up in the Premier League if you play that type of football, if you play that type of...
Yeah, I want to ask Ches this question, though, because Ches, I put into the group chat the other day and I tagged you and Don about the protest towards your ownership. And I asked you both, are you backing the protest or are you backing the ownership? Don left the group chat and didn't answer. Ches, would you do us a favor in the live chat and say whether you are supporting the protest against your owners or if you're backing your owners? Which of the two? Because I think you have to take a side here as a Chelsea fan. I think you've got to go for one or the other. So what is it going to be? Are you backing the ownership or are you backing the protests? I'd love to know from chairs. Are you backing ownership or are you backing it? Let us know in the chat. No cryptic responses, no vague responses. No, is it the best of times? It's the worst of times, chairs. Right here, live on the terrace, in black and white, in writing. Are you backing the protest against Clearlake? Or are you backing Clearlake and saying they are the right people to take you forward? This year from Uncle Jester says, how is Liverpool's experience working for them? They were champions last year. This year it hasn't worked so far because the manager changed the system up. But the experience at Liverpool won them a Premier League last year, bro.
I think this is what Chelsea fans right now, they are really trying to fight this battle around their project not being successful. I don't think they care about winning now. It's always about building for the future, This team was not built to win the league this season. Let's be honest. None of their signings screamed win the league this season. And Chelsea fans have a culture shock with the fact that they've gone from Roman Abramovich, who's always win now, as majority of the time was more win now than not, to now a manager who to an ownership group that is like, you know what, we're building for the future. We're getting Esteval, we're getting these youngsters. And I do think there's a disconnect between the fans that are like, this is the Roman way. I seen them recently when they were chanting Roman's name outside the stadium. Those days are gone. You guys are not getting Roman Abramovich back. These ownership are not win now. They're not a win now ownership unless they sell the club and you bring in another set of ownership that care about winning now over anything else. You would not have seen Liam Delap. No disrespect to him. You would have seen an Osimhen coming in a long time ago if it wasn't for, if it was a win now project. But it's not. It's clearly not a win now project.
But Egal, they spend like it's a win now project.
No,
but they don't spend it on win now players.
DJB, sorry, not DJB. LB. They don't. DJB. Time with Arsenal fans. They don't spend like a team that's trying to win now. They spend like an MLS or MLB team.
No, the value they spend like it's a win now team. They spent £2 billion, bro.
But the amount of kids and youngsters that they've signed that they're trying to flip. This whole situation is a youth farm. They have a farm system.
Yeah, okay, but we're doing too much here. We did this about 9 months ago, so more have been bought since with LB and Potsy on the channel. We, at that point, and I'm going to be slightly off here, we added up, this was before the summer's transfer window, we added up around 980 million spent on the first team. By then it was 3 years. So that I think by now there is somewhere in the region of 1.1 to 1.2, if not more, billion has been spent on the first team in 3.5 years. To put that into context, Mikel Arteta has spent 950 million. So I get that they've spent a mass, somewhere between 500 to 800 million on young players to flip. Fair. I've got no issue with that. But they have spent over £1 billion on their first team squad as well. They have done that.
Terry, the thing about Chelsea is the value of their squad doesn't mean anything to them. The money that they spend doesn't mean anything to them because when they came, they had restrict rules where they had to spend a certain amount of money.
I do get all of that, but I suppose I think we understand what they're doing. The question is, do you think Liam Rosenior is the right man to take them forward, Egal? That's the bigger question here. Do you look at it and go, this is the right appointment to pick up from where Maresca left off?
I don't think so, and I think they know they're going in to get somebody who will listen to them. They believe what they're doing will work. And they don't care who's in charge. Whoever's the manager is basically a placeholder. I believe there is no manager at Chelsea Football Club. You're a coach. You're asked to do what they tell you to do. They're basically playing football manager, and the manager is just there by name. The people running the club are the people who decide everything, as based on the reports of how they're dictating substitutions. They're dictating who's going to play, who's not going to play. They're dictating all these things. And Maresca came in. He grew his profile to a level where he wanted more control. If Liam wants more control, he's probably going to get ousted also. At this moment in time, I don't think they're going to change their model. They're going to stick to it, and the model's the model. Whoever's in charge, whoever's the manager, forget about their CV. Chelsea owners are the manager. The manager is just a person.
Well, but this is the scary factor, guys. And I wanted to throw this to LB. The reports in the last week about how often they're in the dressing room, how there's pressure on Maresca to play certain players to maintain value. Those are the things. I don't think it matters if you rate a manager or you think he's crap. Rate a player or think they're crap. Good squad, bad squad. That is not what you want. You've got owners who want to win now. They put a mass amount of pressure. They allow your club to spend exorbitant amounts of money, and all of that is fair. But what they don't do is stand in the dressing room every day telling your coaches what to do. They weren't even doing that with Mancini or Pellegrini, let alone Pep.
Well,
and I
Sheikh
think
Mansour, I think, has been to 2 matches in his whole tenureship at Manchester City. Maybe even 1. He's definitely been to 1, maybe 2. He's definitely not been to more than 2 football matches at Manchester City.
Yeah, I remember the one when he was like. I remember the kind of headlines when he was there because
It was there at Liverpool at home. We beat Liverpool like 3-1, 4-1 or something, and he was at the Liverpool game. And he might have been to a second match, but he's definitely not been to more than 2, 100%. So they do, they put people in the positions that to make the decisions. But Egal's right, man. The manager job at Chelsea isn't really a manager job. It's sort of like you got to just execute what we're basically telling you to do. There's rumors that like players have been told that they've got to play certain amount or players have been told when they sign it that they'll play certain amount of games. So the manager has to play certain players even though they don't want to play them. I'm looking at Liam Rosenior, right? So he's managed 3 football teams in his career. I'm on transfer market here. Yeah? He managed Derby for 9 games. He won 4, drew 2, lost 3, right? He managed Hull first season for 28 games, went in halfway through the season. So he played 28 games in his first season. He won 8, drawn 14, lost 6. Second season, full season, he managed 46 games, finished 7th, won 19, drew 13, lost 14. Then he went to Strasbourg, full season, 34 games. He won 16, drew 9, lost 9. He finished 7th. And then this season, he's managed 17. He's won 7, drawn 3, lost 7. And he left him in 7th position with a points per match of 1.41. There's nothing there. He's never won a trophy, by the way. There's nothing there at all that I can see from a sort of results-based view that tells me he should be managing Chelsea Football Club. He doesn't look that bad as a sort of like average manager, 7th with Hull, 7th with Strasbourg, 9th with that. He doesn't look that bad.
But you know what this is?
Chelsea Football Club, man.
LB, this is an internal hire. This is an internal hire. You already have somebody in the business. You don't want to go look out for an actual good, proper manager. You go and get an internal hire. That's what it is.
Do you guys remember? You both watched The Green Mile, right?
Yeah.
You know that one of those final, very dark scenes where the old man, the old version of Tom Hanks, is sitting there and he's sort of telling his story to his then old biddy girlfriend, but she dies and other people die. He sits there and he comes up with this line, and he's sitting there and basically saying, "I'm over 100 years old, and so is this mouse. But mice live for like 2 years and they die." And he's like, "The scary thought that keeps me up at night is if he can keep a mouse alive for 100 years, how old am I going to become?" I've got that feeling for Chelsea fans because if they're hiring internally for yes men, heaven forbid Gary O'Neill does a good job at Strasbourg, because if Liam Rosenior does go, that could be your next manager is Gary O'Neill. So this isn't even about whether Liam Rosenior is good enough or not. If they just want someone that's listening to them, if they just want someone that's going to do exactly as they say and can't push back, Gary O'Neill could be your next manager. So yes, right now this may seem bad, but you've got to look at how long that mouse has been alive for, because your hell, this might just be the beginning of your hell. This might just be the beginning. You might be, and that's what that's for me, where if I was a Chelsea fan, I would be very concerned. It's why I understand the protests. It's why I understand why the fans are pushing back. And I will say, unless I've missed it in the live chat, Ches hasn't come back yet as to whether or not he's back in Clear Lake or the protest, which tells me he is
Conflicted.
back in Clear Lake. No, it tells me he's back in Clear Lake.
Why would any Chelsea fan want Liam Rosenior at their football club?
I don't think any
Give
do.
me one reason why you'd want him at your football club.
I tell you why. It's not about wanting Liam Rosenior. I tell you why some Chelsea fans don't want to go against Clear Lake. I know what the reason is.
But why? Wait a sec. Do you support Chelsea Football Club or do you support Clear Lake?
No, I hear you. Do you know what it is?
Coexistent.
Yeah, they are. But this is what it is. I know it. I know this for a fact. Let me rephrase that. I believe this to be a fact. If they go against Clear Lake, protest, say get them out, and Liam Rosenior, the same as Enzo Maresca, the same as Poch, the same as Potter. If it does work and they go to another level, he develops the youngsters, they recover this season and they win the FA Cup. Next season, they win the Premier League. They want to be on the right side. They don't want to go either way because they want to be on the right side of history. They want to be able to say, see, I told you Clear Lake were the right guys. What they don't want to do is go Clear Lake out, protest, say they're wrong. Then it goes right and they have to go, oh, I got it wrong. There's a lot of fans now. I see it online. And I know your clubs have them as well. Mine definitely does. They don't want to give a full opinion. They don't want to go on either side. They're like, well, what do you mean? You get this a lot. Do you think you're going to win the game this weekend? Oh, if the manager picks the right team, we will because the squad's brilliant. What does that mean? Well, if we get it right and play really well, we'll win the game. If we pick the wrong team or get the in-game management wrong or the players don't turn up and do well, they'll lose. So you've basically just given an answer that covers all bases. Because if you win, you'll say the manager got it right and the team's brilliant. If you lose, you'll say this player was bad, normally a scapegoat, and the manager made his in-game tactics wrong. You won't just give an opinion as to whether you think they'll get it right or not ahead of time. And that's what's happening to a lot of these Chelsea fans. Man United fans have them too. For instance, I'm happy Amorim's gone. It was the right time to, but I'm not excited about the appointment of the new manager because I don't have faith that Ineos are going to get it right. And some people are going, Terry, that can't be an opinion. Well, it is an opinion. I don't have faith in Amorim or my ownership. I have no faith in them or barely any faith left. So, yes, that's my opinion. But some people don't want to do that. I can't say I don't have faith in my owners because if they get it right, I don't want to have to admit I was wrong. The saddest part is, LB, it's not even about their club anymore. It's about their fragile egos and not wanting to be wrong. Because I'll be honest with you, LB, I can't think of another reason why anyone's backing it. I can't think of another reason as to why any Chelsea fan is sitting there and saying, yeah, Clear Lake are the absolute right people for us, especially after this week when they've said they will not change their transfer approach. So we've been debating this, LB, and we thought a year ago, we were like, there's no way Chelsea go into this January window 2 points off top and don't add some quality to try and win the league, because that's what Chelsea's always done. 3 windows later, they didn't do it. And now they're doubling down and saying, we're not doing that. That's not part of our strategy. We're not breaking the wage cap. So that you get to a point where you go, well, your strategy then is never going to get you to the very top. It's never going to get you there. So you have to push back against it. Now, that doesn't mean you're an idiot for backing certain parts of what they've done, because even failures get some things right.
Correct.
The problem is we live in this polarized world, LB, where it's like, I can't say, like today, me and Goldbridge were arguing, and he's like talking about we should buy in January. I've said only if the players are good enough. I don't want to waste £50 million on Conor Gallagher. I'd rather buy no one than waste 50 million on Conor Gallagher because I don't think he's good enough. But equally, if we can get Belieber and we refuse to do it, I'll condemn it. Some people hate nuance, and that's the issue here. Nuance is being ignored. You can back 3 or 4 things that Clear Lake do that condemn others. And I find that people can't live in that world anymore. People can't live in reality. They're either in Hawkins or on the upside down. They're in one of the two. They're not in reality anyway. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's not a new scapegoat, though. The scapegoat is not the ownership. It's not the players. It's the directors. And that's the main issue that they're all unified. The whole fan base, I find that they just point the fingers at the directors and they're like, these guys are not good enough.
But the problem is with the director claim, I said it to Don on Friday, that's a scapegoat. That is an easy option. So I'll tell you why it's an easy option. Because the sporting directors don't have carte blanche. They're not the ones who are defining the project. So you could go and get the best sporting directors in the world. They're being told by Clear Lake, you sign this age group under this salary and this kind of manager. The sporting directors are not making that choice. So the reason that the Elises and the Semenyos and the Oshermans and the Donnarummas, the biggest reason they didn't become Chelsea players isn't a lack of pull, isn't because bigger clubs came in for them. It's because Chelsea weren't prepared to pay the wages that these players wanted. And that's the fundamental fact of the matter here. Facts. So it doesn't blaming the fans went along with it, Terry.
So they deserve everything they get, bro. They deserve it. Oh no, we don't want to. As a fan, like, you know what I mean. You're talking about Osimhen and that, yeah. And you know, I was speaking about him, and I just felt like it was the most obvious Chelsea signing ever. Guy's got 12 goals in 16 games already this season, yeah. And they don't want to sign him because he's on too much money. And then you say to him, all right, and well, what are you going to do when Cole Palmer knocks on the door for his next contract extension and asks for 350 grand a week? Or Caicedo, or Cucurella, or Reece James? Oh, we'll deal with that. No. Yeah, wage structures never work because eventually you have to break the wage structure. Yeah, you just have to. That's if you want to be a top team, you have to do it. Yeah, Liverpool done it with Salah and Van Dijk, and Chelsea, if they want to keep their top players, will eventually break the wage structure. And then they went and got Delap, who's still not scored a Premier League goal this season. Yeah, and we're in 2026, and it's like fucking hell, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, why as a Chelsea fan would you not want elite players at your football club?
No,
to give Chelsea one little bit of confidence. Before Maresca got sacked, I thought they were heading in the right direction, regardless that they were going by this program. The reason why I doubt them more now is because I don't think they've gone with an ambitious manager. You go from Maresca and you've somehow downgraded even more to a more inexperienced manager. And that's where they lose me as somebody who thought they were heading in the right direction, regardless of the fact that they weren't signing the right players, winning 2 trophies and showing promise.
Do you know what they're doing? I'm going to give a cultural reference to this. What they're doing now is, this reminds me of Game of Thrones' final season. It didn't go the way anybody expected it to. It doesn't matter how good the previous season. You could back the previous seasons and go, love that season, love that storyline, love that twist, love that death, love that whatever, that bit of sorcery. But the final season bombed. And for me, that's what Chelsea have done here to Chelsea fans. They have built themselves into a very good team. They've got some very good players. They've got some world-class players. But every Chelsea fan worth his and her salt knows they now need top quality, experienced players and at least a better manager as good, more experienced and better than Maresca. And they haven't done that. They're saying they're only going to buy young players still, and they've gone for a Liam Rosenior, who, listen, I hope Liam Rosenior kills it. I'd love to see a young British manager become one of the best in the world. It'd be lovely, but I don't see it happening. And there's an ominous message in this from Chelsea. There's an ominous message that this is how we're going to continue operating. And the big question, LB hit the nail on the head. What's going to happen in a few years when the Palmers and the Caicedos, potentially the Enzos, the Cucureas, when they want to be put onto the same money as other world-class players in their position around the world? Will Chelsea go up to the 250, 300s? And if they do, and then you're signing another midfielder who's 22 to come in and play alongside them, they're not going to come in and accept 100K a week. They're going to go, no, you want me to be a midfield partner to Caicedo? You're willing to pay £80 million for me. You're telling me I'm of that level. Now, they're not going to demand 300K a week, but they're going to demand 200, 250K. There's no way they're not going to. You can get away with offering lower wages when all of your players' salaries are low, barring a couple of anomalies from the previous kind of regime and when Todd Bowley was running it. But you can say nobody's earning that much money here. Man United are doing it. We can tell all our new signings, no one's coming in on 200, 250K a week right now. The problem is, in 3 or 4 years' time, if we've built a squad, you can't say that to people when half the squad's on that kind of money. And that's the conundrum that Chelsea fans have to have honest conversations about. Let's do some of these comments here. This here says, Rosenior is hated despite being at Derby, Hull, Strasbourg, Europe also, by the way. But Arteta got Arsenal fans at Arsenal as his first job, hated because he's English, lol. Well, it's not because he's English.
Arteta won us a trophy in his first 6 months. If your manager comes in and wins you a trophy, fair play.
Listen, what Arsenal
Which is
did
exactly what happened with Maresca, by the way. And bro, there was loads of Arsenal. Arteta was on the verge of losing his job when he went like 8 games without a win, and then they give him a new contract. Do you remember that, Egal? He was on the verge of losing his job. Half the fan base wanted him gone.
Yeah, and also it was lockdown, and I think that was a big factor in why he didn't end up getting as much pressure as other managers would.
Yeah. Also, Chelsea and Arsenal are not in the same position at that stage. Chelsea have kind of done their rebuild. They've built out a squad. They've won trophies. They're expected to challenge for titles now. I don't think, if, for instance, Wenger left Arsenal in a better circumstance, they were a better team. If Unai Emery did 2 years and had them on the edge, I don't think you'd even gone for Mikel Arteta. The reason you went for him is because everything had to be stripped out. And what I don't like about some of these conversations is people ignore the context and circumstances of that particular moment. For instance, City are trying to rebuild their squad at the minute. I don't deny that. What I will never allow to be said in my presence without challenging it is it's the same as what Fergie started rebuilding at United in 1985, or is the same as what Brendan Rodgers inherited under FSG after Hicks and Gillette. Not the same type of rebuild where the whole club was decimated and in problems. There's a fundamental distinction between those two things. And I feel like we've become a bit addicted to just calling everything a rebuild and categorizing it into the same box. And they're not all the same thing, English talent.
This is not rebuild. They're ready to compete. They don't know that.
I agree. The Chelsea appointed inexperienced coaches, demand cups and titles contention, and then expectations aren't met. Ownership uses the head coach as a shield. Well, fans do it. So if the reports are true that they're telling managers who can and can't play certain games, and then you'll have Don as an example saying, Maresca's the problem here because 10 games this season, he put the wrong players in the team. Well, let's see if Liam Rosenior makes the same mistakes, the same as the previous two managers, because maybe they're being told to do it. If you have 3 or 4 managers in a row that are constantly not playing the right players in the right positions, and it makes no sense to anyone, that tells you maybe they're being told to do it, right? As opposed to, are you likely that they all, for instance, I don't think the next manager of Man United is going to keep Kobbie Mainoo on the bench every game, every week. Because I don't think that was a direction from Ineos. I think that was Amorim didn't like him. So I think that for me is an important element to this conversation. Welcome, Dan, to the show, mate. Thank you for being here. Chelsea are like the Argos for players, is what Footy Corner TV says here. Yeah, there's truth in that. Chelsea putting their British backup at Strasbourg again. Yeah, I just don't see that going well. Their fans are on the edge of rioting over there.
I think it's going to go bad for him because of that, Terry. Because they're already starting off so unharmoniously and not liking the fact that he's taking over Maresca's job, who a big portion of the fan base started to believe in him again. Like they started to believe in a manager like the first time since Tuchel. I do think it will take a lot less for the fans to be like switch on this manager than it would another manager.
Also, just an update on Liam Rosenior. It's a 5.5-year contract. Obviously, he's halfway through the year with a 12-month potential extension. So his first game will be against Charlton in the FA Cup. So it's essentially a 6.5-year contract if Chelsea want it to be that they've tied him into.
I mean, listen, fair if it works and you end up winning the league with the guy, bro.
Oh yeah,
I won't be happy with it.
There is no chance for winning the league with him. Zero.
No. Egal. But I agree with you, yeah. But obviously, let's just fucking play to the Chelsea fans in the chat who are delusional. If it works, fair play. I don't want it to happen, but I don't think we've ever had an English manager that's won the league as a manager in this country, which is absolutely crazy. So it'd be nice to see an English manager win the league if he does win it, even though I'd rather I'd be a City manager. But it's not going to happen, yeah, as Egal says. But listen, if the Chelsea fans want to go along with it, yeah, fair enough. Also, positive, Dan. Do your camera, bro. Blew my eyes.
Yeah, you're not focused. Yeah. The angle you're at is a madness as well. I feel like I'm drunk. Egal, this is what it's like to feel drunk when you're looking at positive Dan right now. Just to give you that's how the world looks. Because I know you've got to shoot soon, LB, but I wanted to ask you about City's situation. Obviously, you've lost Ruben Diaz, you've lost Guardiola. There's other players that, maybe kind of in the red zone in terms of fitness. How concerned are you with that on the back of the 2 draws in the last week?
Yeah, obviously it's a major blow, right? To lose Gvardiol, who's probably our best defender, to a leg break is gutting. I did not expect it either, because when he went off, I know he was like hobbling, it didn't look good, but I thought it was an ankle problem, so I thought, right, I'll be out for a month or whatever. That's not great either way, but there's a lot of cup games in the next month, so it's not the end of the world. And then I seen it yesterday that he broke his leg. I was like, oh my god, what? He broke his leg. He's out for the season. Not ideal. Diaz is now out for a month. And then obviously you've got John Stones who's out, and no one really knows what that guy's doing. So listen, we was always going to have to sign a centre back in the summer, probably 2, because Ake and Stones are both going to leave in the summer. So we were probably going to sign 1 or 2. And I've always wanted Mark Guehi. I wanted City to sign Mark Guehi last January when we had a fucking centre-back crisis. So I'm completely 100% down for this signing. I think he's a top player. He's a homegrown player. He's Premier League proven. He can play left or right. Fast, athletic. I think he's perfectly suited for the modern-day game. And I think anybody on this panel will probably want Mark Guehi at the football club. So, yeah, I'm 100% down for that. The guy's probably a £70 million player. So even if we have to pay 35, 40 million, I think whatever, I think get him in. We've got big games coming up. So I'm 100% down for that one. Semenyo, I think will be I'm not as excited for Semenyo, but I think it'll still be a good addition to the squad. But we need these players in because Ake will get injured within the next 6 weeks, 100%. That's going to happen. He can't stay fit. And then we're down to Husanov and this Max Elaine guy we've just recalled from Watford. So we have to get Mark Guehi in, man. We have to get him in. So yeah, obviously it's not ideal, but you know, it's kind of crazy, man, because like obviously, like as a City fan, I'm sitting here and obviously Arsenal are favourites for the league right now, but it's kind of weird, man, because it feels like we're in this crisis as a club and everyone's crashing it on us. And I'm sure the boys will crash it on us and I expect nothing less. But we're 6 points off Arsenal. We've still got to play them. We're in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. We're in the top 8 of the Champions League. It's like, you know what I mean? I kind of crazy the way it is.
This is why. I've been here before.
Yeah.
Everyone can see that there's been a momentum shift. You were winning games, you were getting results. Arsenal had injuries, players were out, we were dropping points, and you're on a roll. Now that you've dropped points 2 games in a row, and in the fashion you dropped the points in, you couldn't score a goal over Sunderland. Chelsea get an equalizer late in the game. It kind of seems like with the injuries compounding on top of the results, it does seem like this is like a major shift in the season.
Oh no, I 100% agree with you on that. But I feel like you have to let that play out first. Do you know what I mean? Because like we could easily be 3 points behind you on tomorrow.
No, but I think you're doing this from the side of looking at the positive. There was already a lot of things favoring Arsenal, regardless of the fact that we were close. But now that we have a 6-point gap, plus you have the injuries, those 2 games back to back where you drop points almost kills the resolve of your team. I know Man City have an elite mentality, but look at some of your players at the end of the game. They look shattered. They look dejected. And you now need to galvanize your whole team. Get yourself back on side. Pep, after the game, he looked at his bench. You didn't see any confidence coming off the bench because there was a bunch of kids. And I always hear from City fans. They always tell me it's the draws that kill you. You could win one game, lose one game, and you'll be better off than getting 2 draws. 2 draws is almost as bad as a loss. So in my is worse than a loss.
It is. Factually, it is. Yeah, it is. Draws are bad. You know what I mean? And obviously, unfortunately, like we just look absolutely cooked. I think there's a lot of players in that squad who we don't. People keep saying that you have a small squad. I don't think we do have a small squad. We have a big squad
compared to your old team. You guys, You guys used to have a whole other 11 that would compete for top 4.
It's not size there, LB. It's the quality's dropped. The recruitment hasn't been good enough.
The quality's dropped, and I don't think Pep trusts a lot of these players. You know what I mean? Like if you look at Nico Riley's played every single game of the season bar 1. I know he was fit for like 7 weeks. Marmoush wasn't playing any games before the AFCON. So I think Pep probably could have rotated the team slightly better, but at the same time, you guys can't forget that even though we were winning games, we weren't playing well.
Yeah.
We weren't like boxing teams off the park or playing fresh football. We were just scoring goals and winning games. We weren't playing particularly well. And now, obviously, you know what I mean? We played against, obviously, Sunderland. We dropped points there, even though we had pure chances. Chelsea, we got into fantastic positions, and Foden and Cherky decided to drop the worst performances of the season. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
The reason why people are like this is because the media and everybody was overrating City over the last couple of weeks when you were winning these games. You guys were not having you just said you guys were not having the best performances, but the way that it was being covered was Arsenal are scraping by with own goals, and you guys are purring on all fronts. Everyone's playing amazing. And now results for you to now look back at those games and look at them differently.
I think there's some truth in that as well. But also for me, I was talking about this yesterday, because if you guys do bring in Guehi and Semenyo, which I think is the right thing for you to do, that's £550 million spent in 12 months. I'm just putting pressure on Pep, as I saw pressure put on Wenger, as I saw pressure put on Jose, as I saw pressure put on Sir Alex Ferguson to win, irrespective of what you'd won prior to that. Because United did three-peats and trebles, didn't win the league, got criticised. Wenger did invincibles and doubles, didn't win the league, got criticised. That's all I'm really doing. What I'm not saying is, there's a super chat here that I really wanted to address because it actually got under my skin. It says, when are we going to start having a conversation about Pep? Is the game leaving him behind like Carlo, crumbling under pressure? No. He's not crumbling under pressure. It's not leaving him behind.
See, the thing is, like, so people are so desperate to have the conversation now. We are 6 points behind Arsenal, who everyone's been glazing all season, saying the best team in Europe. We're in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and we're in the top 8 of the Champions League. And people want to start having a conversation about Pep.
If we were to be here in another 2 weeks' time, I have the belief that gap will be wider, and you could potentially be even further away from winning any of these trophies.
They might be, but there's two things here. That means that Arsenal are much better than them this season, and there's some areas of criticism around squad building. You know, maybe a look at the conversation around how Pep's done this year and last year. But this idea that Pep's finished and done is crazy. All that we're witnessing with Pep is because he stayed in one place for a long time. So when you do what Pep initially did in his career, 3 or 4 years at Barca, leave, have a year out, join a very potent and good treble-winning Bayern Munich, who always win their league invariably, does 3 or 4 years there, keeps himself, goes City, gets them to the highest level, maintains it with a brilliant squad. What Pep would have done in the previous few times is maybe won that treble, maybe done the 4-peat, and then left, and then maybe had a year out, and then joined PSG and dominated there for 3 or 4 years. But when you stay in one place for a long time, you are going to hit this period that City are in, where some of the recruitment doesn't work out, some of the young signings don't develop the way you want. The idea that he was just going to keep the team at that peak level forever is a nonsense. It's never been done in England. If you look at Liverpool's peak teams, United's peak teams, there's only been 3 teams in English football history that have done what Pep did at City, and that's Man United in the 90s and noughties, Liverpool in the 70s and 80s, and Man City now. No, they're the best. They're the greatest 3 Arsenal teams. I mean, maybe in the 30s. I don't remember that, to be fair. But in terms of, but not including European football wasn't around back then. But maybe Arsenal in the 30s, true.
Herbert Chapman.
Maintaining that is hard. And all we're seeing is a kind of squad rebuild element for Pep. That being said, there should still be pressure on him and criticism. But as we were saying earlier, LB, I've had a lot of stick from City fans in the last 24 hours for saying it will be a failure if you don't win the league after investing what you've invested. Like, no, it ain't a failure whatsoever. It's because people are now associating the word failure with taking away legacy, sacking managers. It makes it hard to have conversations. And I push back on this super chat that says we've got to talk about Pep. We can talk about him in terms of not having a good couple of years, or the squad build not being right, or mistakes that he's made. But this idea that football has left Pep, he's a washed-up manager, that's too far, and that's disrespectful. The problem is it then takes away from the actual conversation, if that makes sense. It's a nonsense for me personally. But yeah, I'm going to be intrigued to see the next few weeks, especially if you don't get Guehi. You might get him, but the reports today, unless I misread them, sort of said you may get him, you may not.
I think we're going to get him. I think if this football club... Well, listen, I'm not being funny, mate, yeah? But if you're playing Ake, you've got to assume that Ake is getting injured in the next week or two, because unfortunately for the lad, he just can't stay fit ever, right? So if you're telling me that you're confident about going in... by the way, we've not beaten Brighton in the last 3 games. Newcastle away in the Carabao Cup. United away. We've got Brodo Glyn in minus 15 degrees conditions. Yeah, you've got Spurs coming up, Liverpool away, Newcastle again in the Carabao, Newcastle in the league. That's probably all those games are without Diaz and Gavard. If you don't buy Mark Guehi, we'll be out of the title race, and we'll probably, maybe you've got a chance of getting to the final of the Carabao, but also respect Newcastle. You might be out of that. So your season can be fucking 50% dead. We've only won 1 Champions League, so you can't sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, well, you're still going to win the Champions League. We've only won 1 in our whole life. So, you know, you're basically down to the FA Cup. I think if this club, wants to be serious and save the season, you've got to go and land. You've got to go and land Guehi, man. And it's not even going to cost you that much money. And we were probably going to sign this guy in the summer anyway and give him a £20 million sign-on bonus in the first place. So just go and sign him now.
Elby, what do you think about the Carabao Cup? Do you think he might sacrifice that a little bit?
I don't think you can. I think you've got to go full strength in the Carabao Cup, man. You know, we've got to try and win a trophy, mate. We didn't win one last year. Yeah, obviously we lost a final. I think for me, like, you've got to respect where Arsenal are at the moment. Arsenal are obviously favourites for the league. I think you've got to take that. So you're 3 games. You're 3 games away from lifting a trophy.
Yeah.
And I ain't a snob. I'm not a snob. I'll take the Carabao Cup all day long,
I know,
mate.
but I'm saying, what do you think, Pep? If Pep believes he can win that Premier League still, I'm sure he will in his mind. Do you think he might sort of just think, you know what, especially
not when you're in a semi-final, bro. If this was the first round of the Carabao Cup, maybe, yeah, but this is the semi-final.
Ironically, we've just been sitting here talking about Chelsea, and and what's been reported by their credible media outlets is that they are not taking the Carabao Cup semi-final too seriously, and they're prepared to essentially throw all their eggs into the basket of getting back into the Champions League. No, I agree. Like it's you've got to go for the trophies. You simply have to do that in my personal opinion. By the way, before you go, there's some breaking. Sorry, guys. Sorry, mate. There's some breaking news. Man United's new manager has been revealed. I want to shout out to LB before we go. Man United's new manager revealed, and you will be starting in the game against Burnley. So I just want to let you all know this is the new Manchester United manager. By David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, my mum, my cat, my dog, and everybody else. Might as fucking well be with the way we operate. This year says, and LB and Dan said the same about Maresca. It's a good sign. They are full of shit. Now Liam can't foul.
You also told me I was chatting shit when I said you'd finished outside 15 points over whoever wins the league, and now you might not even qualify for Champions League. So hold that one.
Setbacks happen, and adjustments must be made. I appreciate.
Are you actually a Chelsea fan, bro? Real talk, man. Your club's in crisis, and you're talking about it's just a setback. What is wrong with this guy?
He says here, I appreciate the way this ownership has recovered from the way Roman has robbed of this team. Still took points off City with the under-21 coach.
Hey, thank you.
Celebrating draws now. Yeah, thanks for that, guys.
Another 1-1 win for the lads.
Yeah, that's
they beat us both. They beat us both 1-1, lads. We got to respect Chelsea, man. We're both victims of a 1-1 loss.
Hey, LB, if your club goes and gets Semenyo and you go and get Guehi, I still don't think it's gonna just like you're gonna need a bunch of these players back. How long is Ruben Diaz out for?
6 weeks.
A month. So maybe you could do something in the Champions League or the FA Cup or the clubs. But I think the league is going to be too difficult for you. And Semenyo and Guehi joining you this January is a big slap in the face to all those Liverpool fans who are saying we need these guys to revive.
It's actually hilarious if Liverpool, both Liverpool targets could end up at City. That's massive. To be fair,
that always happens to them.
I'm stunned that Liverpool are not trying to sign Mark Guehi now. Like, I literally just don't get it one little bit, to be honest with you. But I'm just on the point, because I've got to go in a minute, yeah, on the point, guys, mate. Listen, bro, my faith in the Premier League title winner is fading. Yeah, I'm not looking for us to, honestly, I'm not, at this moment in time, I'm not looking for us to, go on some mad... I just want to stay in touching distance with you as long as possible. Try and stick in there, and maybe March... whatever, we find our form and we're still within 5 or 6 points of you. I'm at this point, I've sort of accepted that in the next month or two, you're probably going to stay.
We play you in it, LB. Game week 32.
Yeah, I just need to stick in there, man.
You can keep it 6 points till then, and then you play us and beat us.
Yeah, but we're not playing well, man. We're not playing well.
1 second. I heard a little bit of doubt that you thought you could lose to Brighton in the next game. Is that true?
Well,
what's the back four going to be?
I don't want to lose the game, but we've not won against Brighton in the last 3 matches. So it's not looking great there.
Licking his lips. Who's the back four going to be, LB?
It'll be Nunez, Huzanov, Ake, and O'Reilly.
Jesus.
So we'll see, man. But we're not beating them in the last 3 games, Brighton, man. They're a good side, you know what I mean?
Listen, it took us an own goal, didn't it, to beat them? So yeah.
But again, I just need the points, lads. I'm not out for Arsenal now. Arsenal, they're looking at performances. They're looking at getting that motor going. Yeah, we're in different fucking lanes here, mate. Yeah, I'm in the fucking what's that lane called on the motorway where you break down, innit? What's that lane?
The hard shoulder.
Bro, I'm in the hard shoulder, man, with my fucking hazards on. Yeah, going at 30 miles an hour with 2 pot tires. Yeah, and I'm just trying to fucking make it to the service station, man, where we can get some help. You know what I mean? That's an help is Matt Way and Semenyo.
And that's it. And I think if you can stay within 6 points, and look, I think Guehi would be fantastic. I think he's one of the best centre backs in the Premier League. I think Liverpool have made an absolute clanger in not bringing him in. I think Liverpool would be maybe 10 points better off this year. If they'd have bought Mark Guehi, I think he's excellent. Great bit. And again, this could be if they both come in and click at City, and that's the only other point, do they settle quickly? Because some of your signings do, some don't. That's natural for all clubs. Again, it's brilliant for the title race. It really is.
It's important that they're Prem proven.
Yeah.
I think that's
they know the league. They have an understanding. It's not going to be a culture shock in terms of food and climate and whatever else it may be.
I'm not asking them to come in and put Gabriel performances in here. I'm just saying, come in and help us. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to win this league, it's going to be because of Haaland. Yeah. I think most people agree with that because he'll score all the goals. It's not going to be because Mark Guehi's going to come in Manchester City. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we need him. Anyway, I've got to go, lads.
I know you got to shoot, bro. I'll catch you soon, LB. Top man, bro. Thank you very much indeed. Viewers, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you have subscribed. Make sure the bell notification button is turned on as well. I want to speak to you gents, about obviously a big game you've got coming up this week. You play Liverpool Thursday night. Egal, how confident are you going into this game?
After seeing their set piece record, Terry, I'm extremely confident. I don't think I've been more confident going into a game at home versus Liverpool in damn near decades. I don't know when the last time I was this confident versus Liverpool side. I know going into this game, if my team can get one or two set piece chances, there's going to be at least one goal from that. And I know that we're going into the game. I can already tell that it's going to be at least 1-0. Liverpool's going to be chasing. And they don't have the same level of threat. I look at their teams before, they had dynamic threats all over the place. They had pace, they had power, they had shooters, they had players who would press you and make you worried. But now I look around, I see Cody Gakpo, I see a fullback playing as their right winger, or Szoboszlai being played as their right winger, and I just don't see the same level of dynamic Liverpool teams that I used to see. And I feel like Arne Slot basically, I don't know if it's due to him or the lack of, or the changes that they made in the summer, but they took a title-winning side and they made it weaker by signing all these players because they took out all the identity from the team. The whole identity of the Liverpool teams of Klopp's era is almost gone. And you go into this game and you're like, who's really going to hurt you? It's almost like we're facing Spurs at home. I genuinely feel like we're going to a Spurs game. I'm that confident. We don't lose against Spurs at home. And I don't feel like Liverpool can touch us. And it's not about how well we're playing. It's about they don't have that cutting edge. But yeah.
Dan, do you agree with Egal here? Are you really confident about playing Liverpool this Thursday? Where are the areas that you maybe need to be mindful of and nullify to make sure you get this win?
I think it's going to be a massacre, a bloodbath. I think under Arteta, he's really he's avenged some big defeats we've had in the past. Us Arsenal fans have suffered. Let's be real. We've lost. How many times did we go to Anfield and let him fall? How many times we went to Chelsea, we lost by 6. We've suffered, and we put that right. Last season we beat Manchester City 5-1. We beat Chelsea in 23-24 5-0. We beat Bayern Munich 3-1, who obviously beat us 5-1 before. And I feel like a big win against Liverpool is coming. I can see us scoring 4 goals at least. Look, I would take a 1-0 win now, if you ask me, off Van Dijk's backside all day long. I don't care how we get the points. But I feel like it's going to be under the lights. I can't wait. I'm going to it. The only player that would worry me would be Salah. And Salah's not going to be there just because of his pedigree. And he does seem to always score against us. I think we're going to take the game to them. And if Liverpool come out, God help them. God help them. Because if you look at any team that plays just a little bit, Atletico Madrid, 4 goals past them. Aston Villa, 4 goals past them. Tottenham, 4 goals past them. Right? Any team that comes, Bayern Munich, 3 goals past them. Any team that comes and dares try and play against Arsenal, they get opened up. And Mikel Arteta is assembled Avengers squad, and we're getting revenge on everyone. And I expect nothing more than a big Arsenal win. And when was the last time, like Egal alluded to, and the last time I felt that confident? I remember we played them 2 seasons ago, and it was must win because they were 5 points ahead of us. And had they won, it would have went to 8 points, and we had to win. I think it was 23-24, and we won and cut it to 2, and we beat them 3-1, and we blitzed them that day. Last year was a 2-2 draw, and we did it with a makeshift back 4. I can't see anything. Listen, football, anything can happen, of course. If we had a really off day, but I can't see anything but a big Arsenal win.
Listen, I'd love to see you smash Liverpool to pieces. Nothing this week, of course, barring beating Burnley and Brighton, outside of my own club, nothing could make me happier than watching you guys absolutely annihilate Liverpool. One of the reasons it would make me happy is I was getting very frustrated listening to Liverpool fans allude to catching you in this title race 3 weeks ago. Allude to it. Suggest it. I was watching like Sam, and I would call him out again tomorrow. All these watch-alongs I was watching where he was like gutted when you guys scored. But he's like, no, I don't want City to win. I want Arsenal to win it. But yet there was like this, when you scored. And I'm sitting there going, because you guys believe you're actually going to fight your way back into this title race. In fairness to Alex Trott, he said it. I think Paddy Murphy on TikTok said it. At least they had the balls to come out and say, we are going to catch Arsenal. I kind of want you guys just to end all hope they've got of getting anywhere near. I think it's got dissipated after that Reed screamer. I want you guys to do that. However, I don't know if you're going to annihilate them. The reason I say that is because everything points to you doing it. They might open up and play. They've been disastrous at times defensively this year. You're in great form. It's going to be an amazing night for you guys with the way they're going to do the pyrotechnics, the tifos, and everything else. But I think you'll win. Right now, if I'm going to do a score prediction, I'm going 2-0. I think 2-0, maybe a 3-1 in there. I'd love to see you stick 4 or 5 past them, though. Nothing would make me happier when those 4th and 5th goals are going in, watching Key Thomas, watching Redmen, watching my brother Don Hussam crying their eyes out on their watch-alongs. Wah, wah. Craig from the Anfield Agenda. Wah, wah. I'd love it. But I don't know if it will be a beat down, but I do think you'll win, and I do think you'll be the superior team in the game. I agree. There's never 0% chance, but I can't make an argument for Liverpool winning the game outside of complacency. The only way they damage you is if you don't go into the game with 100% intensity and focus. If you go into the game, and I don't think you'll do this, but if you go into the game thinking Liverpool being crap, they're dodgy at the back, they can't score enough goals, they've got these problems. If you go into it thinking like that, they might surprise you. If you go into it with intensity, hard pressure on them, I think you'll beat them, and you'll beat them well.
Terry, I think Liverpool fans are probably, this is the last game they want to play. With their terrible set piece record, against us, one of the best set piece teams, if Arne Slot goes into this game, he's going to be pulling out Ange Postecoglou. I don't think he really has focused enough on set pieces, because to me, it's almost like Arne Slot got cocky last year. He won the Premier League and he thought it was too easy, and he thought he was just going to cakewalk the league again. It almost comes off as a person who just had everything coming for them the first season, and this season things go wrong and they don't know what to do. Liverpool seem to be in turmoil also with what's going on behind the scenes. You've seen the report that I sent you earlier. So I don't have any confidence that they're going to come to our ground and give us like a really hard game. What is going to happen is first half, everyone's going to say, this is boring. Arsenal's boring. We're going to score a set piece goal. They're going to say, you see, they're dodgy. They keep scoring set piece goals. And then second half, when they open up, they try to chase the game. That's where we're going to kill them off and probably get a second or third. But right now, I think the main takeaway is Ekitike going to play? Because if Ekitike doesn't play, I don't think they have enough of a threat up front.
Just on that, Egal, the most goals we've scored have been from the 45th minute to the 60th minute. And I think Arteta's got to take huge credit for that. That's 12 goals we've scored from the 40 out of the 40 goals we've scored. Most of them are coming that time frame. And as bloody hell. One sec. What's happening here? Terry, this dodgy camera.
It works for me. Sent him through the same link as my one. Listen, look, he's obviously alluding to it, and we'll go back to Dan when he comes back. But for Arsenal, the last couple of games, I mean, you had a little bit of a rough patch. I mean, he's back with us now. There we go.
Yeah, as I was saying, from the 45th to the 60th minutes, we scored the most of our goals then. And obviously, Arteta's team talks, they're definitely good. But also, what he's seeing is he's watching the game, seeing how it's going, tweaking things. Atletico Madrid was 0-0 at halftime, ended 4-0. Aston Villa was 0-0 as well. The Newcastle game, we were losing 1-0. Bournemouth, it was 1-1. We're scoring a lot of goals. And we're killing teams off at the right time. When you score just after half time, it really knocks the stuffing out of the team. And look, as you said, Egal, people could be sitting there getting anxious, getting nervous. We've heard it all before. Arsenal playing boring, rare, same old crap. And look, it might be a set piece. It could be anything. At the Emirates, when we score that goal, it changes the way the whole Emirates, it just erupts, and there's a totally different feeling. And then it does get a bit anxious. And listen, if that game gets to the 60th or 70th minute and we haven't scored, Liverpool do have quality, not the star quality they had like last season, but they do have a Gakpo, someone, who could get a goal. And listen, we score early, the game's only going one way. So I think the first goal is going to be vital. But as you were saying as well about Liverpool, they've kind of made their team worse. They spent all of this money. I always said from the start, even when we were doing the transfer rumours and all of that, Terry, that they missed big players, losing Trent, God rest his soul, losing Jota, losing Diaz. These are big players for Liverpool. And for me, this Arsenal team that's been built now, why me and Egal and some other fans have been so optimistic is because we see this team is not just here to win one Premier League title. This team has been built to go again and again and again. If you look at the average age of our players, everyone keeps going back to 2022, 23. Oh, you were 8 points clear then. Yeah, with a team with an average age of 24, with a manager who was only in his third season. This team now, Gabriel was 27 years old. He's in his prime, right? You've got Trossard, who's in his prime, 29. He's 29 or 30. You've got Saka, who's 24, 25 now. Declan Rice is 26. These guys are going to be here. Saliba's 24, 25. They're going to be here. Timber, the same. They're going to be here. This team's not going anywhere. Whereas you look at Liverpool last season, you knew Van Dijk was on his last legs. Salah, he had an amazing season, but how many seasons could he keep doing that for? And you looked at their team, really, and that's kind of why they've gone and bought a lot of players. And Terry, you said this quite a lot. There's only ever been 3 managers in the history of the Premier League that have retained a Premier League title. And that's Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, and Sir Alex Ferguson. So, Ancelotti didn't get the chance to do it. Arsene Wenger never managed to do it. There's been great managers who's never managed to do it. And listen, we've got to get this.
What do you guys make? I want to put a comment up, right? Because I want to interrupt the audience a little bit here. What do you make of? I've seen this a lot of places now. One of the new narratives now is that the league is weak. The league is weak, and that's why this is possible. What do you guys make of that claim from rival fans that the league is weak?
Terry, I had this in my show last night, right? And I referred to you. I said, go and watch Killing the Game by Terry Flewers, because that is just killing the game. And that's why last season, no matter what, even for banter, I did not once say that Liverpool don't deserve it. Liverpool are getting lucky. It's only because Arsenal aren't doing well. It's only because City are falling off. Listen, if you want to say it as a little bit of banter, all good. But if you're saying that seriously, then you're doing exactly what you said, Terry. That is killing the game at its finest. Because, look, all right, it's the City are not the same City as before, but they've got the best manager in history. They've got the best striker in the world. Liverpool are the Premier League champions who just spent more than anyone's ever spent in one transfer window. So, look, it's just, look, people, they need something to say, People are starting to accept it now. Rival fans are slowly starting to accept it. And even the Arsenal fans, who some are genuinely believe don't want us to win, because they're moving the goalpost now. Now it's, if we win the league, it's only a Premier League and an FA Cup in 7 years. It's still not that great. I heard someone say that if Arteta goes on to win a couple of Premier Leagues and the Champions League, and then he leaves in 3 years, it still won't be that good. It'll just be all right. So, the goalposts are getting moved already. People are going to say what they're going to say.
You know something? I it's like you hear the same narratives every year. So every year it's, Liverpool top of the league. It's a weak league. Arsenal and City are injured. Arsenal's top of the league. It's a weak league. In my opinion, the 100-point season was when Man United finished second. Was the first time I heard the narrative that it was a weak league. The year that Manchester United finished second, they're like, because Man United is second, Ole Gunnar Solskjær's Man United second, and you have Man City winning by this many points, it has to be a weak league. The rest of the league is terrible. But in actual reality, the majority of the seasons over the last couple of years, bar last year, the points totals have been in and around the same. They've been in and around the same points total at the end of the season. The average points total this season. The reason why people are maybe saying that is because Tottenham are where? 13th? Where were they last year? They're in a similar situation. Manchester United is actually better off. Chelsea's better off. Aston Villa is better off. Newcastle's maybe worse off than they were last year. Promoted teams are performing better. I think every year is different, and every year people are going to run the same narratives to make themselves feel better, Terry. That's what it is.
Yeah. For me, the league is harder now than when City did the Centurions. It's harder now than when Klopp won the league. And the reason that I say that is we're getting back to the realms of the 90s and the noughties, where there were very few games where you went, that's a win. If you go back and look at 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, if you were in that period, and you can kind of throw Newcastle into that for a certain period until they got taken over. But if you look back, if you go back then and you were honest, no one was scared back then of playing West Ham's. Nobody was scared. West Ham had a little resurgence in that period to be in the back end of lockdown, so maybe. But the newly promoted teams went through a 4, 5, 6 year period where nobody cared about them too much. You had like Brentford came up and did well. Brighton came up and did well, but it didn't have the fear factor that they had now. Going away to Palace was no sweat. Bournemouth, no sweat. Leeds United, the last time they came up, no sweat. The last time Sunderland weren't even here. There were very few away games where you would, in that period between about 2017, 2018 and about 2022, 2023, where you looked at it and you went, look how many hard away games there is. Now you think about it now, going away to Arsenal, City, Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea United, Brentford, Sunderland, Newcastle, Brighton, Fulham, Palace and Bournemouth are in 14th and 15th, respectively, but you still don't look at that and go, that's going to be an easy game today. You still go into that thinking if we're not at our best, we will lose. That wasn't here 4 or 5 years ago. And if people can believe me or disbelieve me on what I'm saying, go back and look at people's preview shows on their videos back then. Go back and look at the predictions in the newspapers. Now you get a lot more, even if you are going to win, it's going to be a 2-1. It's going to be close. It's going to be narrow. Right now, we are, and do you know how I think you can see the strength of the Premier League is how well in the last 2 years we have done when playing European sides. So, for instance, of course, PSG were absolutely amazing last year, but look at Man United and Tottenham, awful in the Prem. Best 2 teams in the Europa League. Look at Premier League versus La Liga teams in the last 12 months in our games against each other. The balance is massively in our favor. Now, some may argue the overarching standard of football is lower now than 20 years ago. Footballers aren't as good. It's too robotic. That's another debate. But it is a like-for-like playing field because we're playing each other. I don't remember the last time the Premier League was this competitive was the mid to late noughties when there was where there was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 away games that were really hard that you were nervous going into. That exists right now. And even Arsenal, the best team in the country at the minute, you know, when you go away to Brentford, Sunderland's, Man United's, Liverpool's, Brighton's, you don't go into that game going, you don't go into those games going, going to smash them today. 5, 6 years ago, the best 2 teams in England went into nearly every single game very confident they were going to win. And that isn't an indication that you're not as good as those teams per se. It's an indicator for me that the group behind us, the chasing pack, are so much better. And we now see that with the performances from these teams on a European front as well. So this idea the league has got weaker is one to discredit Arsenal. If they, by the way, I stood up for Liverpool in the exact same way last year. And I never did. All that may be true is Liverpool aren't as good as last year. But that doesn't mean the league is weak. They are just not as good overall. But I would say Arsenal this season have been better than Liverpool were last season, if I'm being honest with you. I think you look a better team. So they replace each other. All this is to do is to discredit. The 3 or 4 narratives, if you win the league, will be weak league, which they'll push. There'll be the element of, yeah, but it's only 1 league title in 7 years, so he needs to do more. Or it will be 1 Premier League after 900 million spent. That's horrendous. That's the kind of narratives that are going to be thrown your way. And it's crazy.
Harry, the narratives are all going to die because Arsenal win the Premier League, or God forsake Arsenal win the Champions League. The way the football culture speaks about Arsenal will shift to a level where you can no longer banter about trophies, banter about Champions Leagues, banter about us not winning, banter about Arteta and the players in this team not achieving things. Because if we go on to not only win the Premier League, God forsake, win a double or win even a Champions League, the way people speak about the entire culture around how football is spoken about Arsenal and how Arsenal is always put down. Arsenal players are always overrated. Arsenal fans are always unbearable. That will all shift.
I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons I'd like to see Arsenal win the league is for education purposes. Whenever you talk about the state, what I've noticed with a lot of detractors of Arsenal, Arteta outers, etc., is the rewriting of how poor a situation your club was in between sort of 2016 and 2020, when 2019, 2020, when Arteta came in. The rewriting of that team, by the way, by people who've got fan cams on AFTV, their own content, we're on TalkSport, writing articles and all sorts, absolutely drilling into it, that now say, actually, it wasn't that bad. So I see. But the one thing that's frustrated me in this last 5 years, we've seen a fledgling manager take over a broken football club. The club stripped everything out, replaced its footballing decision makers, rebuilt a squad. 2.5-3 years later, we're in title races and are now one of the best teams in Europe. Whenever you try and talk about it and have an open conversation around, the changes that were made, what did Arteta do right and wrong in the beginning? What was the strategy around building the squad? When you try and get into a conversation about the development of the football, whenever you do that, it isn't just Arteta outers. It gets shut down by the media. It gets shut down by ex-pros and pundits. Everyone just goes, but I ain't won anything, so let's not talk about it. And it's frustrating because there are still learns in there of things that have gone right and things that have gone wrong, but you can't talk about it. And it's annoying because it just gets shut down and hijacked as the conversation. One of the reasons I'd love to see Arsenal win a trophy or two is just so we can dissect it and have a conversation without amoebas and dummies and bitter people hijacking the conversation, because there's something to learn in this. And even if you don't get over the line with Arteta, I still think he's going to leave you in a position where the next manager potentially can. So one of the reasons I want to see you guys win something is I feel what you guys have done, just like Liverpool, when FSG took over from a near broke football club, what they built up. Once they won that Champions League and that Premier League, you then got to start to see the documentaries and the breakdowns and the education pieces around what FSG, what Hughes, what Michael Edwards, did alongside Klopp and Rodgers to rebuild the club. And as much as it isn't my team and I don't like seeing them successful, I learned so much through that. It's one of the reasons this year, Slot deserves a lot of criticism. So do the players. But I'm looking more at Michael Edwards than them, that he allowed Slot to change the system that had been working for 8-9 years. That's because it goes against everything they built. If you go and study what made Liverpool so brilliant from FSG's takeover until this season, it was this continuity of approach, irrespective of manager. It was a club-centric project. They brought managers in to increase it and make it better, but they went against it this summer. I never thought they would because of all the education pieces that came out of it. So what I'm intrigued to see with Arsenal is the education pieces that come out of it. So for me, that's one of the reasons why I want to see Arsenal win, so we can learn more about football as football fans. And there seems to be a want to not do that with Arsenal, which I find a little strange, if I'm being honest.
No, Terry, do you think we'll win it, Terry? No.
Yeah.
You're the favourites. You're the favourites. I'm not someone that likes to.
Did you predict us to win it?
No, I predicted Liverpool at the beginning of the season. I really thought Liverpool.
Terry, give us your answer, Terry. Who's going to win the league? Come on, mate.
I think you're the favourites now. Absolutely, I think you're the favourites, and it's based on a few things. And the biggest reason it is for me is the data backs it, but it's what my eyes see. You create as many goal-scoring opportunities per game as City do, and talking proper big chances, but you concede 50% less. And as long as that doesn't change, if you keep creating the volume of chances you do, plus your greater set pieces, I think over the course of the season, you'll be near around your record-breaking goal level. Yeah. If you keep conceding the volume of chances you do, you're just going to win more games than everyone that's chasing you. And it's just based on watching football for 40 years. If I'm conceding 5 big chances on average per game and you're conceding 1, as long as you're scoring goals, which you are, there's no way over 38 games I'm finishing ahead of you. It's almost impossible, because you just can't concede that volume of gilt-edged chances and win more games than a team that's barely conceding chances. It's just logic. And I've seen that for the first 20 games, that as good as City are, and there is a chance they win it, but I only think City win the league if you guys massively fall off. I think even if City this is my view, then they're going for Guehi because of injuries, and maybe that changes it a little bit. But my view of the Semenyo deal for City is they're going for Semenyo to try and score their way to the league title, just to try and score enough goals to win enough games. They weren't making an approach to fix their defense, because I think that's a bigger project in the summer, and that's more about the midfield. But now they're bringing Guehi in because of the injuries, but I still don't think Guehi stops them leaking the chances. The chances are because the midfield is not, look, it's not as easy to bypass as Man United. It's not as easy to bypass as Tottenham, but it's too easy to bypass for a team to win the league. And that's why I have you guys as still the marginal favourites. The next 3 or 4 games, if City drop more points, which they could because of all these injuries, if it goes to anything above 8 points, Arsenal are the clear favourites for me, because I just don't see there being a 9-point swing in the second half of the season.
Gary, the league's going to be done by a month from now. I'm telling you. I'm not saying like mathematically, but City are going to get to a point where their resolve is gone, because the confidence from City is what the mentality that they have is what always is like scary. The mentality that they just keep getting results even when things are not going well for them. But that's us now. We're the ones that are getting results when things are not going well for us. We're the ones that are winning games when we don't think we're supposed to be winning them. And they're the ones where they're dropping points when they should be winning. And I'm looking at it, it's almost like roles reversed. And we have more control. We have a better game state. I'm looking at City and I'm saying to myself, I see replications of what I used to be a couple of seasons ago, where I look at my bench and I don't see the same quality as us. I personally think Manchester City this season have no chance of overtaking us. If they do, it would be us catastrophically falling off and us having a mental lapse of epic proportions. And I don't think that's possible with the level of rotation and freshness that we can have with the players. And I remember you saying to me a couple of seasons ago, injury is an excuse. Now I understand why you said that, because if you build your squad good enough, no matter what injuries you have, you have the belief that you're going to find a solution. And this has too many solutions.
It's right. See, I look at it this way. Injuries are a reason for a team to fall off. If your squad depth isn't good enough, barring a catastrophic situation where your best 11 to 15 players all get season-long injuries, which that never happens. No one's ever lost all their best players for a whole season. The difference is
last season, though.
but that's because your depth weren't there. You had a really good summer in terms of buying depth, and now what's happened this season is you've had similar amount of injuries. Interestingly, City have you noticed as well that no City fan, no Arteta out, no rival fan, no one's having to go at Pep for the injuries to his players. He
rotates perfectly.
Yet they've still got injuries that have left them threadbare. But the difference is, and their injuries should impact their first team. I think it's absolutely fair that their levels drop off now. The criticism, though, needs to go to the recruitment team that have not bought well enough in the last 3 to 4 years for the quality of City to maintain for a player like Diaz being out for 4 weeks. And that's where you have to look at the club as a whole, as opposed to Pep, or you have to look at, looking at the players individually. And that's the issue for a lot of teams. You've seen it with Man United in the last few games. As much as I do think Amrim had to go and he could have done better, you 2 or 3 players get injured, 2 or 3 players go to AFCON, and it's like, fuck me, look at this squad. And that's the real test for a squad, is when you lose 4 or 5 players, where with you guys this year, you've gone to that next level. Let's have a look at some of these super chats here. Points totals don't define league quality. In my opinion, the baseline is higher, but the top 1% are weaker than before. So it's preference, depth or elite talent.
I disagree.
Go on.
I don't think it's that the top 1% are weaker. I think that the clubs that you're looking at, like Tottenham, Man United, and Chelsea, are performing worse, but the top 4 has always been 3 out of the original 6. It's not always stay the same top 4 every year.
I think it's a really good super chat. I think it's a really good debate. I look at it this way. I think the Centurion Pep team, Klopp's title winners, I think the treble winning Pep team, I think last year's Liverpool winners were very good. I think all of those teams at the top could have competed with all of the top teams in Premier League football history. So I think I'm taking nothing away from those teams. Where I agree with you, the points total isn't. I've said it ever since City did the 100 points. There was an anomaly in this, and the media push it, because everything in the media and TV is everything now is better than it was, and they have to push that because they need to keep you watching. They can't. Imagine the TV company sat there going, "Yeah, Premier League going as good as it was 20 years ago." It's they want to encourage you. It's better, and they want you to stay. But there's two things that were different 20 years ago. Is that once teams won the league, they didn't care. They actually did what Liverpool did last season. They win the league and they piss off to Ibiza. They're on boats, they're partying, they're hungover. They couldn't give a damn. So there was loads of teams that got 85, 90 points 20, 30 years ago that could have pushed on towards 100, but didn't care because they won the league. The other element to it is the quality of teams you're playing. I think you could put the Centurions in this league this year. They're not getting 100 points because I don't think they're winning back both games against Arsenal. I don't think they're winning home and away against Villa. I don't think they're winning home and away against Newcastle. I don't think they're winning these over the last couple of seasons. Forget maybe this actual campaign. You look at the last 3 or 4 years and put that Centurions team in any of them. There's so many hard away games compared to when they were Centurions. I think they'd still win the league, maybe. I still think they'd get 85 to 90 points. But do I think it's plausible that they draw 2 or 3 games extra, they lose a couple of games extra? Yes. And I think that about most of those teams. Do I think if you take Man United's 99 team and put them into 2017, 2018, but take away City's team and only have one elite team in the league, if I take Arteta's double winning teams, remove the Centurions and put them in that league, if I take Jose's 2000, if I take 2004 5 Jose team and put them in 2017-18 with no other elite teams that season, all of those teams could have got 100 points. It's not the ultimate barometer. You have to judge on who you're... Think about that treble winning year. You had the double winning Arsenal team. Arguably, some Arsenal fans I talk to actually think your 2 double winning teams are better than your invincible teams, right? Fair argument. You had that double winning Arsenal team against a treble winning Man United team. And you also had a chasing pack. You also had a chasing pack back then that included, obviously, Liverpool, that were a decent side. You had a fantastic Leeds team that had a lot of money pumped into it, that I think only a year or so later was a Champions League semi-finalist. Chelsea built a brilliant team that year, only lost 3 games in the league. There were a lot of hard away games that season, and it was just a lot of very talented teams taking points off of each other. A lot of draws that season because there was loads of closeness between those sides. But you could actually probably take the Leeds United team between sort of 1999 and 2001. And if you put it into that period between 2016 and 2024, but remove the top City or top Liverpool team, they probably would have won the league. People don't realize how good those teams were. They were really, really good sides. Really good sides.
They wouldn't have won the league.
Let me ask you a question, guys.
No, if you would have removed, the reason I'm saying remove the City or the Liverpool team is because those teams won at an absolute canter, like we've never seen before. I'm saying if those teams didn't exist,
So you'd have to remove both of them though, because there's a lot of seasons. Where
the Centurion season, Liverpool finished 25 points behind them. Man United finished ahead of Liverpool that year.
Yeah,
Liverpool started kicking on the next year. My point is those Liverpool and City teams are amazing. They are of high quality. I'm taking nothing away from them, but I don't think they were in a league where it was plausible that more than 2 or 3 teams could actually beat them in a season. Where in the 90s, in the noughties, right now, we are seeing so many teams that are able to beat each other, but the top English teams are still some of the best teams in Europe, which tells you our levels haven't dropped too much. Unless we want to say football as a whole has got worse. That's another conversation. Let's have a look here at some more comments. How and why did you guys let Anton become the voice of our fan base, and what are you planning to do to stop him?
Leave Anton alone, man. He's a nice guy. He's just a confident fan. He's happy about Arsenal being good. What's wrong with people being happy?
Exactly. Anton's the man.
That's a Chelsea fan, right?
Yes, that's yeah. I disagree, Terry. In that time frame, going to Burnley was tough. Going to Stoke on a cold Wednesday night was hell. Was Stoke still in the league in 2017, 2018? I don't. They might have been. I don't even know if they were.
They weren't,
Stoke,
man. They've been gone for a long time.
Hang on. Stoke got relegated that season, bruv. And that season, Burnley actually had a good year that year. To be fair, they had a good season that year. Yeah, I think they came 7th in the league that year, but Stoke went down. Already done that one. Arsenal fans, football gods, just saying.
Let me ask you a question. To the people who say football gods, what did I say that is outrageous?
I don't know. What does it mean? What do they mean by that?
Answer the tempting phase, what they mean. The league has improved. That's why there's no easy game. I agree with you completely. Arsenal fans clown us for draws, but happy to come second.
Who's happy to come second? What are you talking about?
Arsenal fan has ever been, what football fan has ever been happy to come second? None.
City still have United, Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea away.
The next 4 games, they have Wolves at home in between them, but are United away the next game. Then it's Liverpool away and the Spurs away. And in between that, there's Wolves at home. But 4 out of the next games, they've got 3 big away games, man. So, like Egal says, mate, if we win our games and they slip up in 1 or 2 of those games, could be done.
They would have been better off if they stuck with the mid-manager this whole time, just for some stability. Owners aren't targeting the title, so why would you need a better manager? Yes, man, for 4 years. That's about City. About Chelsea, it's actually 6 years he signed his contract for. 5.5 years he signed his contract for. On new managers, it has just been announced that Ole Gunnar Solskjær is back in Cheshire, which is where Manchester is, in case anyone outside the UK is wondering. Ole Gunnar Solskjær is back in Cheshire. Essentially, the interim role is going to be between him and Michael Carrick towards the end of the season. And boys, what do you make of that? What do you make of the idea of an interim taking charge of Man United for the rest of the season? Good or bad move on United's part?
Bad move. You don't want Ole Gunnar Solskjær back. Once you've sacked the manager because of their tenure, you want to rid yourself of that because it leaves a bad stain on the fans' mouths. To bring him back after 2 other managerial appointments after he was sacked, I just feel like it's going to bring back bad memories for the fan base. You're probably better off building up hope and for the future by having a fresh face in there. And I just don't think it's a good idea to bring him back as the interim manager or anything. Just even if he's an assistant, I think it's better off to just have Carrick and Fletcher deal with it.
But what if the manager they want's not available though?
Carrick and Fletcher can deal with it.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Egal. I love Ole Gunnar Solskjær. A lot of Man United fans can't do what I'm about to say. I don't know why. I can separate Gary Neville's awful punditry from the legend and the man I love in my football club. I can separate Ollie failing as manager overall from the legend of a player he was and the lovely bloke that he is. Equally with Gary Neville, I'm not judging him as a man. I don't know him. I'm not saying anything horrible about him as a person. I just don't, I've seen him go in about using 3 at the back. Yeah, he was begging Ten Hag to go 3 at the back. I just find it very duplicitous in that way. Bringing Ollie back, listen, if he comes in and we win our first 9 games again and we have a great run and he doesn't get offered the new deal, it will go down like a house on fire. The problem is if he comes in and it starts badly, it'll be like I'm stuck inside a house that's on fire. And scenario where all the bad feelings will come back, how you felt when we were struggling underneath him. Where I think if you stick with Fletcher, or more importantly, go to a man with managerial experience like Michael Carrick and say but make it clear, absolutely clear. This Michael Carrick's going to be here for the next 6 months. He will not be the manager, irrespective of what happens. That, for me, is where you'll get United fans behind the coach for the rest of the season, and it will be okay. Would I like the new coach now? Yes, but equally, look, we tried that with Ruben Amorim, where we said, come now or you're not getting the job, and it hasn't worked. So letting a manager... The one thing... if I'm going to be positive about this, the one thing I feel that's good about starting in the summer with a new manager is when Amorim came in, we had a bad start, bad end to the season. And all that feeling, all that anxiety, all that frustration carried over to this season. So it didn't matter how well we played against you guys, we didn't win. All anybody could think about was, but last season we were crap. Where if that was Amorim's first game, it would have been, oh, hang on, we lost, but I can see what we're trying to do. This could be great. So I actually think in a season that I still think is going to have a lot of ups and downs, no matter who the manager is, you're better off starting the new guy in the summer. Fresh slate, no bad memories, no bad record, no horror results, and you can go through preseason in a slightly happier mood, maybe a more optimistic mood. You can buy your new players and hopefully start the season well. And even if there are some setbacks, there's no PTSD. There's no, oh, do you remember last year? Do you remember what he said? You start as afresh. That for me is the positive. The negative in all of this is I have almost no faith we're going to hire the right person. I really think we're going to get this wrong again, which is, and I don't like feeling like this. I hate being in this mind frame, but I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a frying pan and I can fall backwards and fry in the fat, or my other option is jump into the hot coals. Either way, I feel like I'm being burnt to death, metaphorically, touching wood. So yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. And as a comment here said, it's another season in the bin. It does feel a little that way. It does feel a little bit that way, or a lot that way, to be fair. And I understand that point of view. But that's the other argument, though. Bring the manager in. It's a long pre-season. He gets to build his team. The issue is if he doesn't start well and doesn't get that new manager bounce, you're just starting the Ruben cycle again. Because Man United fans are angry. Collectively, we're impatient. We're fuming. We don't trust our owners. It's a very toxic environment to come into Man United. So I feel for the new coach to give him the best possible start. You wait until the summer. Because no matter how bad your season is, we all do this. The season ends, you go, it's done. You start seeing the links to new players, and everyone starts to get a little more excited, a little bit more hopeful. And that's probably the right time for him to start. But Ole Gunnar Solskjær, I wouldn't do it. I'm against that. I think it's a bit like when Chelsea brought back Lampard as an interim. It just, although he's a legend and you love him, it just go, oh, it's going to, like, I don't really have any hope it's going to be good. Where with Michael Carrick, I feel like Middlesbrough played some nice football. I like what they did. I don't know. I wouldn't personally. I'd go with Carrick. I'd go with Carrick. Is the new manager?
Yeah.
Right now, first name that comes to mind, realistic, because we are not getting Pep. We are not getting Klopp. We are not getting what's his name? Diego Simeone. We're not getting any. We're not getting Arteta off you guys. We're not getting Alonso. We're not getting any of the top guys. We're not getting Flick off Barcelona. We're not getting Luis Enrique from PSG. We're not getting
Emery?
Company. I wouldn't take it. I don't want Unai Emery. And I'll tell you as to why. Unai Emery and Glasner, these guys. Let me first say this to you. Whoever we get, I will want to be successful, and I'll cheer for them, and I'll hope they prove me wrong if I don't like them, and I want them to be a success. I'm not going to do an Arteta out agenda from day one and just hate on my manager, big up Yardman. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, right? I'm not going to big up Brandon if you're watching. I'm not doing it.
More.
But from my point of view, Unai Emery, Glasner, these guys, I think, because I don't trust Ineos to build an elite squad, I have no faith we're going to get back to the top. So at the very least, what I want is entertaining football. And some will say that's low standards. It isn't. It's an acceptance that unless fans boycott and make the owners sell, I don't think we're ever getting back to the top. So at the very least, give me some entertaining football. So knowing we can't get the best in the world, I'd go with someone like a De Zerbi, who I think will play exciting, vibrant, attacking football, and you might pick up some trophies along the way. You may pick up trophies with a Glasner, with an Emery, but I think it overly will be boring football, pragmatic football, and Man United fans, as a collective, don't take to it. The media then jump on it and go crazy, and it just always ends in disaster. So for me, just knowing the reality of our situation, I'd go with De Zerbi. Now, if I believed we were going to build an elite squad, and if I believed we could build something to win the league, then I'd be saying, listen, make an offer to blow Luis Enrique's mind. Make an offer to blow Diego Simeone's mind to make him leave. But I don't believe we'll give those managers the tools they need to get to the top. I think they'll fall out of our ownership really quickly. So again, it's a really hard one to answer, because when you answer it in a basic terms, people go, you got no standards with De Zerbi. Get Zidane. Zidane ain't coming. We can't attract him. We won't give him what he wants. So I just think it's about being sort of realistic in that regards, really.
The thing is, Terry, it's funny that you said no Oliver Glasner. I agree with you. With Unai Emery and Oliver Glasner, they are, I hate to put people in boxes, but certain managers are set for certain jobs. And I just feel like once you put them in a job that's bigger than what they are expected to do, or they have high expectations, you're almost setting them up for failure also. Where De Zerbi, I feel like he's already won league titles in other countries. He's already playing in France right now with high expectations. I know it's not Manchester United level, but the step of going from Crystal Palace to Manchester United, could be a shell shock for Oliver Glasner.
It could listen. It could be for a lot of people won't like De Zerbi as well, and I kind of I appreciate that, as it were. And I don't know. I think he's only won a couple of cup competitions, De Zerbi. But I'm honestly looking at this from the perspective and point of view that I don't have faith that we're going to build a squad that's capable of winning the league. So if I don't think we're going to do what Arsenal have done, where you've got to a point where you could win a league, then give me a manager that's at least going to entertain me. Don't make the football. Don't give me no hope of winning the league and boring football. At least give.
What about Xavi?
I like Xavi. I wouldn't be opposed to it. It was just some comments he came out with recently made me a bit nervous about how he struggled with the scrutiny and pressure at Barcelona. And I feel like, brother, you're going to get that at Man United too. But I don't mind Xavi. I wouldn't cry over it. I think it's a good appointment.
Surely you'd be excited if Xavi come in. Would you not be excited?
I mean, look, I'd be excited that the football might be pretty. I'd be excited that we might play some really nice, expansive football. Mainu would get used great. Mainu would love it. The same with De Zerbi. Equally with... So go on.
What about Simone Inzaghi?
I like him. I think he could do a good job at Man United. But we're not going to pay him what he's getting in Saudi, so I don't know if he'll come back. That being said, we're Man United. I think most managers would jump at the chance to managers outside of the elite guys. So I think we could get Eddie Howe off Newcastle. We could take Unai Emery off of Aston Villa. People do the whole, why would he leave where he is for you? We are, people hate hearing this, but we are Manchester United. We're very attractive. And all of these top
You sounded like Gary Neville there.
That's Southgate. I seen it in the comments.
No. Again, Southgate falls into that. He's a much worse version than an Unai Emery. But again, I don't think he'd get us to the top. I don't think we'd build a squad to win the league. And the football would be awful.
He would fix the culture.
Yeah, he could fix the culture, but the fans just, honestly, the fans wouldn't take to him. The fans wouldn't take to him. The fans wouldn't like him. The football doesn't suit what we want to do. And I think that's an important thing for them to get right. They've got to entertain the fans. And I don't remember, Ollie's counter-attacking football was good. Maybe the first 6 months of the Ten Hag. We haven't had decent football at Man United for the better part of 5 years. Where we've gone, I'm looking forward to today. That was great. We rarely do. Like we had the first half against Bournemouth, and then about a 20-minute period against Bournemouth this year at home. And I just felt like I was like, this is Man United playing football. Couldn't fucking defend for shit, but we need to be able to attack. We need good attacking football at this club. We need it.
There's two things. Number one, when are we going to get to finally see that kid JJ? In that Man United.
Well, I don't know yet. I mean, the problem is because I don't give any money to Manchester United, I don't have MUTV, so I don't watch him. I read as much as I can about him. My fear for JJ right now, he looks like he is a boy, and he looks like a boy. He's built like a boy, and I worry about putting him on a pitch with geezers because he could get hurt. Where when you look at like Ethan Waneri, even when he was 15, 16, he had a bit of size to him. Rooney at 15, 16 looked like a fucking man. My issue is he looks very slight, but there is a lot of talent in there. The one thing I like about the interims we're going to get is I think we'll go 3 in the midfield. Mainu will be back in the team. Bruno back in his strongest position, and that I'm a little bit excited. That I'm excited about because I look at that and think to myself, you can have Ahmad and then Mbumo on either side of the wings. You've got Cunha that can play out there. So I feel like we'll have a bit more balance to the way we play. I think we'll look better. We just need to make sure we don't do what Ten Hag and Amorim both did, and that's leave our midfield widely exposed and open. We need to pack that midfield area, and I think we'll win more games. So, yeah, but some of the youngsters will get some good opportunities now to shine, hopefully.
Hey, Terry, I still have Man United as a team dark horse to get top 5 because of the fact that you're playing 1 game a week and you're not playing in Champions League or European competitions.
They're on the same points, isn't it? As
yeah.
Chelsea, right?
Come the end of the season, that could be the difference between you guys being fresh enough to go and get that top 5.
Well, I think that's the reason why he's partly been sacked. A lot of Man United fans are pushing back on the idea that performance had anything to do with it. I disagree on 2 fronts. I feel that in the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks, we've had 4 or 5 opportunities to create a bit of distance between us and the chasing pack. We should have beaten Everton, should have beaten Wolves, should have beaten West Ham, and should have beaten Bournemouth. Absolutely should have beaten those teams. The manager's in-game decisions, shape, and lack of aggression to win the game for me, shouldn't ever fit Man United's culture. And after every single one of those games, two things we saw. One, reports that there was frustration with the board. Two, you saw the pictures and video footage of those very people arguing with each other, essentially pointing at the pitch going, what the fuck's this? That has then led to the arguments. Now, the transfer stuff, let's wait to see what comes out in the wash with that. Some people are saying, the manager wanted the 65 million for Semenyo put into another position. Now, the rumours are that could land as someone like a Conor Gallagher. Not all of it, but some of it would land Conor Gallagher. For me, I don't want to waste £25 million on Conor Gallagher. For me, I'd rather keep Toby Collier in the midfield. I'd rather play Toby Collier in midfield and save the money for Belieber, Wharton, Elliot Anderson, Stiller, players of that ilk. Equally, this argument, of course, has led to the manager exploding. But for me, it's been death by 1,000 cuts. It's been a build up to this point. Once he mouthed off, he had to go, because that's where the performance comes back in. Because there's no way after that fallout and outburst that we're going to maintain where we are in the league or press on. And you're right, Egal. We have got a chance of making it back into Europe, because Liverpool, Newcastle and Chelsea have been nowhere near the standard anybody expected. Now, Liverpool could have an amazing second half of the season. Liam Rosenior could work and Chelsea go back to winning 65% of their games. Newcastle could click into gear. Anything can happen. We might equally, it could go the other way, with Amorim falling out with the hierarchy, with him wanting to leave, with him then being sacked. We had to move. We then had to sack him. We had to move on. My hope is that between the guys coming in as interims, we can just create a good atmosphere in that dressing room, get the best out of these players, get Bruno back in the 10 role, get Mainu back in the midfield, play people in a more natural position, tell them to express themselves, attack well, and you never know, maybe make it into the Champions League, and then set ourselves up to go, right, new guys coming in, whoever it is, you got the best possible start. We're going to buy you some better players. Will that all happen? It remains to be seen. But Amorim, as sad as it is that it didn't work out, he absolutely had to go. That there is no debate in that for me. Was he at fault for everything? No. Does sacking him completely fix us? Anyone who believes that is delusional. I mean, we may end up with, this is the scary bit, we might get an interim of Ollie and then give him a permanent job again. Then what are the Amorim outers going to say? Because again, this is what I push back on. That's why I wouldn't join forces with the Amorim outers. The idea that just sacking him is going to fix us is, again, it's like talking to a 3-year-old. And I'm not going to, I've got 3-year-olds in my family. It's offensive. It's like talking to a dog. It's just nonsensical. No, fuck that. My dog is more intelligent than half the Amorim outers, because they honestly felt that sacking him, just bring me any coach and watch us go up to a huge level. Idiots. I can't side with those fools. I can't. Morons.
Same with the Arteta outers. Imagine that. Imagine if Amorim was top of the league, though.
So say that again.
I'm saying it's the same with the Arteta outers. Imagine if Amorim was top of the Premier League.
Well, this is the crazy bit when I listen to Amorim outers. It's like you're top of the league, top of the Champions League. You're in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Even when you have like an off day where you're not that good, but you still win, just no need to be crying like babies. It's just you guys. Yeah, it's crazy. I find it mad.
We win, and you know what the headline was? And someone showed the other day. Arteta doesn't trust Eze. After we just beat Bournemouth.
Well, the thing is, I read about the Eze thing. And the irony is, the reason Eze hasn't played in the last 3 games, according to Mikel Arteta, the reason the Arteta outers are going to ignore it is because it flies in the face of their other accusation against Mikel Arteta that he risks injuring people. The reason that he's been taken out the firing line is because he's playing more games and more intense minutes now than he ever did at Crystal Palace, where it was only ever 1 game a week, barring a few cup games. And he's feeling the pace of it. The sports scientists are saying he can be involved, but he can't keep playing. Even though he's 27, 28, his body ain't used to 2 games a week at the highest level. And the irony is that when that came out, I saw all the people going on about Eze not playing, that they just went silent on it, because what they don't want to ever say is, Arteta's right, actually, because Arteta's doing exactly what they have criticised him for doing for years, which is overplaying players that might get injured. He does the right thing with Eze, and they go, he's ruining Eze's career. Eze might not go to the World Cup. That's why I can't handle these people in real conversations, because it's not that they're not being objective. They're not even being subjective. Yeah, they're just pushing an agenda, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous at this point. It really is.
I seen something and I agree with it. I seen a take on Tottenham, and we don't really spend too much time on Tottenham on these shows, but I just wanted to quickly mention it. Could it be that Tottenham are not a staple in the top 6, but they had 2 generational players that helped them become a staple back to back, with Gareth Bale and Harry Kane basically propping up their talent to a level where they can compete with the top 6, but they're really more closer to Newcastle and Villa in actual reality of what they are based on the quality of signings that they bring in?
I think there's some truth to it, but a stretch, because if you look at in Bale's time, Bale played alongside Luka Modric. There was Jermaine Defoe was there as an example. They had who's a midfield, Dembele in the middle. They have had some excellent players. They have had some absolutely brilliant players in that time. What I would say, again, even when Kane was at his pomp, they still had Son, who is very, very good. There's another player I'm missing in my mind. They had brilliant defenders in Toby Alderweireld and Vertonghen as an example. They had Kyle Walker in that period too. So they had some excellent players. What they haven't done, though, if you actually look back at the best team that both Bale and Kane played in, right now, how many of the current players get anywhere near those first 11s? Very few. No. So it's the squad building since then has just been awful. There is almost not a position on the pitch now that's anywhere near as good as back then. Ben Jacobs with a bit of a bomb here saying Semenyo will undergo his Man City medical on Thursday, but he is going to play tomorrow night against
Tottenham,
which is crazy. If he gets an injury in that game, I don't understand how this is even happening, to be honest with you.
I knew why they wanted him to play against us. I totally get that, but why would they allow him to play against Spurs? If he gets injured, it's done, isn't it?
No, forget about City. Why is Bournemouth or himself allowing this?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, he might not get his move.
Bournemouth maybe think, well, look, if he gets injured, we get to keep him and we've got more chance of staying up.
No,
yeah, but it depends how bad the injury is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But look, each to their own. Like, I don't wish harm on him at all. I don't want him to get injured. I just think it's a crazy risk. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show today. A big thank you to each and every single one of you. This is going to redirect you to, where's it going to? It's going to Footy Judge Mo's channel. He's live at 5 o'clock. So get across there and support my brother, please. Egal, Dan, and of course, LB that was on earlier. Thank you. Thank you to all of our super chatters. If you haven't hit the like button yet, get that done, please, people. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you soon. Peace.